happy to be speaking about is how to do a pitch. And how to pitch, you know, the topic slightly surprised me because I was thinking pitching, what we generally, from where I come, pitching is basically how startups and entrepreneurs pitch. Pitch to investors, pitch for sales, pitch for business. But today the context is different, and I see most of you are engineering students. So today we'll talk about generally pitching. Like, how should a pitch be done? And I hope all of you know what pitching is. Pitching is just putting your viewpoint, whatever you're trying to convey, in a very interesting and fun manner. Something which results into you achieving what you want to achieve. So just to get to the context, I was just surfing internet, and I got some interesting statistics. So every year in India, at least 7.5 lakh students graduate, engineering students graduate. So if you take all the other numbers, I'm sure it will be like 3-4 times more. But every year 7.5 lakh engineering students graduate. Out of that, according to NASSCOM and now that matrix is done by all these HR and IT firms, like what makes a student readily employable, not necessarily which college they come from, not necessarily what grades they get, but this is the matrix, this is the number that we are working. And if you Google, then this will come in the first searches, that 25%, and some of the sites and searches and HR firms say that 40 to 50% of engineering students who pass out are not at all employable. And that's like one of the biggest challenges which India is facing, because we have some of the smartest tech brains, but how employable they are, what they are doing, what opportunities are being given to them, are they maximizing their learning to the best of their ability? There is a huge mismatch. And that's why today what I'm going to talk is going to be slightly radical. Maybe you guys will not have heard this coming from, you know, from your regular college interactions, from your regular, you know, ecosystem in which you operate and interact. But this is something which I would love all of you to consider and think about. One, just think very selfishly. What will make you extremely employable? All of you here in this class are getting the same opportunity. You have accesses to the same things. What will make you an extraordinary, outstanding person in terms of, one, employability. Second, in terms of when you know, some of you might want to be an entrepreneur, some of you might just want to start up and do your own thing. How do you become a smart entrepreneur who does amazing thing? Third is that whatever you might do, tomorrow you might decide that, hey, I'm not interested in just taking a corporate job, I'm not interested in being an entrepreneur, I might just decide to be a professor, I might just pursue my master's and PhD and do something interesting. Whatever you do, how you're going to do something which is like fun, makes you stand out in those 7.5 lakh people who will be graduating with you, and you create a niche. And for me, you know, this is something very close to me, because I observe every year students, I go across campuses, interact with students, and I think what is missing is not the education, the skills, the learnings, what you get in your campuses. What we miss is a very core thing which you guys will have to go back and think whether it is important for you or not, is communication. How we communicate, what we communicate. Because sometimes, you know, the way we are brought up in India, it's like all the time from our, you know, I think it's from standard 1, it's like we're told that what you get, your marks, the A plus, 90, 95, 99 and all crazy numbers, it's extremely important. You know, I studied in a college which is known for its penchant to get, like, you know, you have to get like 95, 99. So when I was like taking admission, it was like, okay, I did arts, so I didn't do science, but still I had to get like 90% to get in this college. So I studied in St. Stephen's College. I don't know if you guys are aware of this college. So that's the focus, like how much are you getting, and that's how we are groomed from childhood. So what we realize, and if you go back and interact with your parents, professors, who will tell you how you speak, what you speak, the way you speak is extremely important. And you'll say, okay, that comes later. If I'm very good in what I do, that doesn't matter. But the world is changing. We are in a different world. The world is, for last 5 years, I don't know whether you guys hear this, but when I was in college, we were always being told we are in a globalized village. The world has changed, and we are very interconnected. So today, it's not the 7.5 lakh of Indian students with whom you will be competing, but you will be competing with students from across the globe. And when you compete with students from across the globe, then how you are and what you are besides your grades matter. So now I'll quickly come down to how you need to pitch. Because we can go on this is like a huge subject in itself, and we can have a lot of conversation around this, and I would love to talk to you guys off the line. Offline, if you want to get in touch, please do get in touch, and we'll discuss on this. Now the 3 fundamentals of pitching is what you say, how you say, and to whom you say. Now you've heard me speaking for the last 5 minutes. What you say to me, how you say to me, and when you say that to me will be very different. What you say to your mother, how you say it to your mother, and the way you say it to your mother, or to your professor. I might have given you slightly an impression that I'll be slightly cooler than your professors. So you can just be, more chilled out and relaxed while talking to me. But the whole thing is the context is important. And we have 2 contexts in our lives. As people, as individuals, it's very normal. Our context is with our family members, we are very different. Outside family members, we are very different. And maybe the 3rd context would be friends. So I'll say friends and family, we're very different. And at home we are very different. But now you have to dig deep, because once you are pitching, and always be aware, it's not pitching for a job, it's not pitching for an opportunity. Whenever you are pitching, just remember whom are you talking to, because that's the fundamental premise of any conversation. Whom is very important. You cannot be talking to a 60-year-old guy and say that, hey, Kai Poche was a very interesting movie. And so whom you are talking to, be always, I'm giving you fun examples, but I want you guys to think deep about this. Whom you're talking to, what you are talking, and the way you are talking is extremely important. I give a lot of emphasis on the way you are talking to, because somehow I think before you start pitching, before you open your mouth, you form an impression, right? Like, again, something which is not given importance to is how, the way the pitching also involves an element of grooming, like how you are presenting yourself, how you have dressed, how, I'm just completely switching off to a different sector. Like if you're looking for an opportunity, which is like a business opportunity, job opportunity, how you are presenting yourself is extremely important. Like how you have attired yourself, how you speak, the voice with which you speak. Sometimes, and I'm sure all of you must be experiencing, is that when you talk, someone will say that, hey, can you repeat again? Or, or she's a soft-spoken girl, or he's a loud speaker, or he speaks loud, or he does, he's all over the place. Those kind of things is very normal. You might be just saying for your friends. But when you do a formal pitch, the one is your grooming, how you're groomed, because before you open your mouth, how you groom, how you stand, how you smile or not smile, give signals to what is going to come. Second thing is the diction. And that is something as Indians, because we have so many of our own languages across the country, so we need to have a proper diction, a proper volume, like how loud, how slow we're going to speak. And fourth comes what you're going to speak. And what you're going to, and I think this is, just don't take it, don't take it personally, because it holds true for me and all of us, is that whenever we are given an opportunity to speak, we just go on speaking. We don't even realize. Either we don't speak because we are like too shy to speak and we don't know what to speak, or we just keep on blabbering because we are too nervous and we just want to tell everything. So in India, and that's why I think I started my business, because everyone wants to tell a story. Everyone wants to tell, hey, what I'm doing. But what you're doing, there might be 100 things you're doing. There might be 100 things what you're good at. But what are those 2 things? One thing, or you know, and I think how many of you, so anyway, I'm not supposed to ask questions, but I'm assuming that most of you are on Twitter. And Twitter is something extremely beautiful. They say that whatever you have to say it in 140 words, 140 characters. And that's why whatever is your unique value proposition, unique selling point, whatever is something that you want to convey, can you say it in 2 lines or 3 lines or 4 lines? You define it for yourself. The more crisp and short and precise is your talk, the more impact it will create. And that's why, and you know, it's something which doesn't come naturally to all of us. It's not that we are born with these learnings. It comes, it's acquired. I read something extremely interesting on Harvard Business Review recently. So this is about a guy who is a great orator. He's a great speaker. He pitches awesomely. And he was talking about this thing that he went to a campus. So he was so extraordinary as a speaker that he was invited to a college. I'm sure it must be a college like yours, to speak. And he was like so sure of himself that he's going to do an awesome job, because he knows, you know, I don't remember what the topic was, that he went ahead and he made an awesome presentation. And then he came back happily that, okay, I did a good job. Then suddenly he got a mail from the college coordinators, like I'm sure all the TED coordinators here. The mail comes that, hey, what you spoke did not make sense at all. You might be a great orator, but what you spoke, the students were dozing off. They just couldn't make out what you were talking. They couldn't understand the words you were speaking. And this guy went in shock. He's like, this has never happened to me. Like, you know, I go and speak to some of the top Fortune 500 companies. I speak to the biggest, you know, senior professionals, and they get what I'm saying. How come these students did not get it? And what I loved is that he said that this was a very humbling experience, because then you realize that what you need to talk and how you need to talk and what you need to pitch varies very differently. You know, because students will not relate, and the way you interact with students will not be the way you will interact with Fortune 500 CEOs. Though as students we would like to feel that, you know, it works for us and we get it, but you know, it's just the age difference, the mindset difference, the exposure difference, most of all the exposure difference. And then this guy worked a lot, and he said that, you know, it's the theory of, I think I don't know if all of you know this, the 10,000 hours. You know, the 10,000 work hours, outliers, and there's so many examples of this, is like, if you do anything, and that's like to an extreme, is like, if you do anything for 10,000 hours, then you become like a master. Nobody can beat you at this. So, you know, this is just a way of saying, I'm not saying 10,000 or 1,000 or 20,000, but if you have to become a good orator, make great pitch, you have to first of all realize why you need to make great pitch. Tomorrow you can say, okay, this doesn't matter to me. I'm like the topper and I'll continue to be the topper and I'll get the best job. Or you'll say that, hey, the market is going to be competitive. We are actually now more than ever in a global economy, and the world is changing fast, and we need to speak, and we need to pitch, and we need to constantly be pitching all the time. Once you are out of your campus, you'll realize every day at various points in your life you will have to be pitching, and how you do it is it's going to be very, very critical to where you are going to be in life. And then if you do realize all this, and this is up to you, because this is not prescriptive, this is something for you to decide. For all you know, you might just say that, hey, I just don't like to do this, and I wouldn't. I like my own space, and I like, you know, there's no benefit to learning all this pitching. So just decide. It's you who goes on to decide that. But if you do decide, then please remember that nobody is born a great speaker. Nobody is born great pitcher or with the ability of making great pitches. What you can do, and everyone who does awesomely has done, is like they follow this principle of practice. Just practice. And you know, tomorrow, I don't know how how many of you have that circle or the ecosystem where you can go and pitch. But I would urge all of you to, within your college, create those mock pitches, create those opportunities where about your subject, what you did in engineering, what is exciting, where do you want to head, about your subject. Start doing mock pitch sessions and build on those capabilities, because this is something which will stay with you. Somehow I feel it not just makes you a great professional, it makes you a great individual. Because tomorrow you can pitch to your, maybe pitch to your gardener or pitch to someone who comes and cleans your building that, hey, dude, you're doing awesome and you can do this and you can do this differently, and create an impact. So it's not about creating professional impact, it's creating impact in others' lives, it's creating social impact. So think like that, and I would urge all of you to work towards great pitching. This is an article which I had written recently, and it did well, and I would like all of you to read this later, as in when you get a chance, is that pitching also has an element of, go down Vallabh, pitching also has an element of confidence, and confidence is again something which can be acquired. Nobody is born confident, though sometimes you feel in your peer, in your circle, that some people have this natural ability, hey, they can come and they can speak. I feel they might have got an exposure in their schools, or they might have got exposure at their home to do that, and that's why they have got this chance and they can speak. But speaking too much is not equivalent to confidence. You might be one of the most silent kind of guys and you might be extremely confident, but when you pitch, when you talk, confidence sells. And there are ways of acquiring that confidence. There are ways of portraying that confidence till you get that confidence. It's like, one thing which I learned is that I've seen people who are extremely powerful, influential rather, are people who will not speak very fast. They'll be people who speak like this with a pause, and they'll want their words to sink in. And they will have a lot of sway to the way they speak. They'll not speak in the same way. They'll go loud and they'll go slow. And that portrays confidence. So there are ways of acquiring it, but be confident. And if you are confident, then your pitch, nobody can just mess up with the way you're pitching. Be direct. Sometimes, we feel very scared that what we're going to say is right or wrong, but somehow I feel, and I've seen it working time and again with all the startups and entrepreneurs that we work with across the country, is that the entrepreneurs who are direct, who say, hey, this is what I do, ABC, this is what I want, this is where I want to head, this is what I see, and this is what I expect from you, are the entrepreneurs who go ahead and get it.